All right. Hey everybody. I'm gonna do a bit of an art stream today because I'm having a massive fucking difficulties in waking up. I don't know why, but I'm feeling mega exhausted these few days. So I'm gonna do pretty much anything to wake the fuck up. I was gonna leave Jane for the last one among these, but I am so fucking tired that I need something to actually get me, happy. So I'm gonna draw her. I think you see. Sorry about the pronunciation. Creation. Destiny Pinnacles, huh? Yeah, I've wrapped up everything on my Titan for this week, and these days I kinda don't have the time to do all three characters, but still, I'm at this point dropping uh, three 318s or whatever. I'm like about 2 points from cap anyway, so I'm good. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, my big creative addition to the mecha genre. What if the pilots aren't underaged? Dun dun dun. Fucking genius. Oh yeah, I gotta keep these colors consistent because they're gonna have like these are gonna be sort of like covers for the thing. Oh, covers, depending on what I use them for. I want them to look proper. I mean, the ones we actually had in mind to visit were Italy and France. And of course, beyond that, Linda was kind of gearing up to do another, possible visit to Greece for references. Yep, I found some music that's like safe to stream on while doing anything really. I don't know. It's always nice to kind of have something in the background at least, because drawing is kind of a very sort of an uneventful thing. Yeah, like the quality of a drawing stream is way more dependent on audience interaction than like something like a video game stream, because a person playing a video game can always just turn to video games and talk to that, complain and comment and praise and whatever, like you always have something to talk about. But when you're drawing, it's a very much a mental process of just kind of like, it's like mentally I'm like, please don't please don't get all deformed and weird and asymmetrical, please nail the look. Yeah, Pacific Rim Uprising. The worst part about that movie is like the actual scenes of combat are just downright amazing. I've rewatched this recently. Like there's so many good scenes. Like there's scenes like where it's like the mechs are fighting and like there's people running away and everything, and it feels just so well done, And then you get to the plot and the characters. I don't know. The whole thing felt like a massive, pilot episode for like a TV show or something like that. Haven't watched any WandaVision. I mean, technically, you can always listen to your music and just mute the output to a stream, so you can get the music. Yeah, I've seen it. It's that type of anime that I fucking hate. Like, no offense, like there's studios that can pull it off. Like I watched Beastars now 3 times the whole fucking anime. That's how well done it is. But these mecha animes tend to be like when they do them with 3D, like same was with Godzilla anime. Like they're so incredibly wooden and just I'm sorry, it's terrible. Like there's such a lack of effort in animation. It's like they're puppeteering, they're not animating. That's my problem with these things. And unfortunately, the Pacific Rim Black seems to be done this in the same way. And I want to like it. You know what I mean? Like there's some nice things that I've seen in the trailer for it, and I'm like, okay, maybe like I don't want to prematurely shit on it, right? But it's like I don't get this new direction that people are taking with these kind of 3D animes that is just like we're just not gonna animate, like we're just gonna have it, we're just gonna basic rig this shit and just whatever. I've seen some of these animes with less goddamn mobility than an action figure. It's probably cheaper, yeah, but the problem is, it can be cheaper and not look cheap, and that's the problem. Is with a lot of these animes, it is cheaper and it looks cheaper. You know what I mean? It's like it's just you get a lot of this. Like this was the same problem with like the Ghost in the Shell that they did. Same problem with the Berserk anime that they did. Like it's just like you see it was there to cut corners, and boy oh boy do those corners look cut. You know what I mean? Like I use 3D whenever I can. Right? I'm right now, like I'm making myself 3D models for the Achilles Shield Maidens, right? Like I'm gonna make myself mecha models, but then when I put them into the comic, I'm gonna actually put in the effort of making these mechas fit into the comic visually. So I'm gonna remove a lot of the rendering that gives away the 3D and make it settle with the rest. Why? Because I'm using 3D as a tool, not as just to cut the corners. Like I'm using it because I think it can work, but you gotta put in the effort. Mm. Mm. I've seen Robot Jocks, I think, like when I was, I don't know, 12, 13, something. Like I know I was real young. Mm. 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 Yeah. Armored Core had its design style. This is one of the things with mechas is like there's a bunch of different design styles, design approaches. There are some that are more boxy. There are those that are more sleek. There are those that are kind of in the middle of them. This is why I say that pretty much all the mechas kind of look like each other. In a way that they all either look like Gundams or Evas or Mazingers or something in between. It's all gonna always have that look. An Armored Core, as far as I remember, like it had these cool designs, but they were very Gundam-like, depending on what unit you're looking at. And then there's the other ones that are just like more, just kind of generic boxy stuff. Hmm. Yeah, that's literally the best way to do it, personally. Like I prefer when it's like, hell, you can even make the 3D characters. I'm okay with that, but animate the faces. You know, like hell, just have those models have blank faces and take some traditional animators and just do the expressions. Just do that. Fine, cut corners, but just goddamn, put at least a little bit effort into it. That's my problem with a lot of this stuff. Is like it's this wooden fucking thing that's just yeah. The lack of effort is painfully obvious. And this is coming from somebody who's done some fucking lack of effort shit in life. it The thing that she has on her head is basically a Neuralink. I'm gonna give these things their own name. That's kind of more unique. But for now, the work title is a Neuralink. Hmm. This thing is used to basically trick the brain into believing that the mech is its real body and shuts off the actual human body. That way, when they're inside the mech, uh, they're mentally piloting without having to move at all. So it's kind of like and this is actually a really big plot point with some of the characters where they're actually really good at doing that. Jane here being one of those pilots. Yeah. Well, some of the some of the 3D movies are just like more of a just genuine effort, where they go with for the rendering and everything. But There is one studio. It's actually the studio that did Beastars. They did another anime that was like with human characters, and they actually almost nailed it to perfection. Also, there's another excellent studio that's actually putting in the effort, and like it's still, it's still a bit rough around the edges for some when you look at it, like because it's like the technology is almost there, and that's the people who are doing Dragon Prince, like they on Netflix, like that. They're actually genuinely putting in the effort, and all the kudos to them. Like I think they're on the right path. Like I think a little bit more work and they will nail it perfectly, like that they will find that balance of style, because at the end of it all, like it really does depend on finding that balance where you can kind of muddy the waters of 3D so that it doesn't look so obviously 3D. Like there's something about just raw 3D that just annoys the brain. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like the uncanny valley of something that's not even trying to look realistic, but you're still fucking just weirded out by it. Hmm. Hey George. Because mind you, like I don't inherently dislike anime in 3D. You know, uh, when there's effort behind it, it can look downright amazing. But the problem is when there isn't effort behind it, and that's the stuff that kind of like you start picking apart, like uh, studios that do it better and studios that do it worse. You know what I mean? Hmm, 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 yeah, hmm, hmm. Yep, that would be her. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah. That feeling when when that's gonna be a really fucking good and really important character trait, because one of those things with these mecha pilots is the whole um, you know Neuralink thing is supposed to make them believe that mech is their body. So they're kind of dealing with the process of the brain rejecting that. That's why there's a limit to how long a pilot can pilot a mech, because like generally it goes around their limits are between 20 minutes and like 45 minutes. That's those would be the upper limits. Except with Jane here, she can do it for an hour and a half, because well, she's kind of used to her brain kind of rejecting her body. She's had 16 years of practice with that, so now turns out what used to be a very discomfortable thing for her in life became one of her pretty much superpowers in the mecha piloting genre. Hmm. Don't worry about the name of the thing on her head. Well, I'll figure something out. Yeah, it's kind of my job. Hmm. I make shit up for living. Hmm. 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 When she gives you that techno Viking pointer. Hmm. 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 It is definitely a head thing. Hmm. 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 Yeah, exactly. That's one of the big reasons. Like, if I'm gonna have a character that is trans, I'm gonna do something with it. There's gonna be more to this character, way more than just hey, I put in a trans character. It's like I do this because there's something really interesting to write here. Like, that's the fun part. Like, that's the best part for a writer to do, is just make characters that are interesting and fun. Hmm. Oh no, that's exactly it. Like I know what you mean, Dan. Like, it's not just hey, look, I did a progressive. It's like, no, it's when I writing these characters, I write them because there's something to write about. Like, and this is nothing like compared to some of the stuff that's coming in Sunstone story arc. Like, oh boy. Hmm. 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 They have skull grafts that actually kind of keep it in a magnetic orbit around their head. Hmm. 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 Yeah, exactly. It was magnets all along. But the real question is, how do they work? Hmm. Hmm. I do hope that this stream's recording is going to be showing the chat as well, because otherwise I'm gonna look crazy once again. Old man Shage here talking to himself, arguing with the voices in his head. Hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, in this one, there's not gonna be any BDSM, so it's gonna be just a very safe for work kind of a story. Hmm. Yeah, that's why I don't advertise my stories as such either. Like you never hear me going like Sunstone is about lesbians, and it's like no, I'm just Sunstone is about people falling in love and while experimenting with their kinks. It's a slice of life about kinksters. It's a mature story about immature people, because I I don't I don't write by numbers. I take a character and I let the story happen. Just got any tips for how to draw comics one panel at a time? You don't have to be way more specific than that. The voices are always funny. Yes, they keep me entertained while I try to sleep at night. Oh wait, not the word's not entertained. I mean, driving me slowly insane. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite taglines. Because it's so true. Like it is a mature story for mature readership, but it is about immature fucking people. The thing is, like, I do have a lot of like kind of tips and tricks about drawing comics, but like if you ask me those things, like you gotta be a bit more specific, as in what interests you. I can't figure out what level you're on roughly. So the more I know, the more I get to ramble. How am I keeping? Yeah, the voices are already fucking well formed. Like, there's literally people in my head at this point. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I can just sit down and just let them talk. It's like Godzilla. Just let them talk. Except, Godzilla, they fight. Fine Print is currently only available on my Patreon, as it is a comic that's directly funded by Patreon. But later this year, the first volume is coming out in print, so you'll be able to read Fine Print in print. Oh, when it comes to storytelling on a page, you gotta basically first of all read the plot itself properly. Once you do, you'll understand what the characters need to do. It's like, are the characters just talking? They are. Well, is it gonna be just talking heads, or are you gonna try and get creative with it? Sometimes you can get creative by adding elements to your composition that are kind of relevant to the storytelling. Sometimes you're gonna do little symbols, little fucking, like there are times when when in Sunstone, I'm talking about Ali and Alan are talking about their love about the whole kink and everything like that. And then you just see me kind of sprinkle paraphernalia around them because they're just kind of geeking out about things. It all comes down to what you're trying to depict on a page. So if a page is, like I said, a conversational one, you got to understand that in a conversation, the thing that's going to carry the page more than anything else is your ability to depict human expressions, human emotions, storytelling with nothing but body language and facial language. Beyond that, you know, it's just how much you want to complicate it. Now, me personally, I have a tendency to keep things simple because I do have a very strong feeling for body language and character acting. So I can, have them act the thing. Sometimes I'll have, sometimes when I have a page like right now, for instance, I'm working on a page of Sunstone right here. and there's like 12 panels on this page because there's a lot of rant and rambling and just kind of stuff. And it's like, in hands of somebody who can't do facial expressions, this would be very boring. But I know how to do the facial expressions and character acting because I've trained myself to do that. So all of a sudden, what could be a very kind of uneventful page becomes a wonderfully paced thing that just kind of keeps you, both entertained and invested, because it seems that these characters care about what they're talking about. So you, as a reader, are more likely to care about the same thing. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, my suggestion always is go back to realism and start from there. High power productions, because um, style is a very seductive thing. Style is a thing that can take you down a wrong path very easily. I've had that. Speaking from personal experience. Back in the day when when I was starting off drawing comics. I had my style that was very kind of proto version of what I have now. With Sunstone. But at a certain point, I noticed the works of creators like Mark Silvestri, Mike Turner, Alex Ross, and so I was like, these guys, like, they know what they're doing. They have the solution. They figured out the visual problem. Now the problem with style is, when you're drawing a person, right? Uh, Generally you're gonna start with realistic proportions, kind of where you're gonna do the whole construction thing, where you're gonna do you know the standard way of drawing. I'm not even trying right now, but you get the idea. You're gonna do the whole thing, measurements, construction, stuff like that. And you're gonna learn how to draw it, properly. You're gonna learn how to draw these proportions. You're gonna learn what an eye looks like and everything like that. Now, I often equate style with handwriting because they operate, when properly developed, they operate in the same way. See, when when you're going to school, right? Your teacher teaches you your letters, and they're like, yeah, this is how you write letter A, right? But as you get older, as you've done more and more writing, that A tends to kind of deform itself. You kind of create your own way of writing it, and that's what a style is when done properly. Style is knowledge plus speed, knowledge plus experience plus speed, basically. So uh, let's say you've done your whole structuring a character, structuring faces and all that, constructing, and you've done it for so long that it's now second nature to you. So you start skipping parts of the process. All of a sudden, you're gonna get a flair to your strokes that are going to start deforming things in a uniquely your way. And you do it enough, and you're gonna have a recognizable look to your drawings that is gonna set you apart from other people because you've kind of developed a style of your own. Now, the problem with this process is that we are, as a species, very easily influenced. We are memers. We see a thing, we copy a thing. So, in your learning process, inevitably you're gonna see people who have already had their shit figured out, and you're gonna see their stuff, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, like they know what they're doing. Obviously, they have the answers. So I'm just gonna kind of try and skip a few billion steps and just try copying their thing and maybe change it a little, and that'll work. And at first you're gonna kind of see this massive improvement because your stuff is gonna start aligning with their stuff. You're gonna be like, oh, I almost got their look right. But the problem is, you're gonna learn how to do it like from one or two angles that they're known for, but you're never gonna really grasp it. And then you're gonna enter that frustration zone, which is pretty much endless. It's this artistic dead end where you're trying to spend your life, writing that letter A, you know, in another person's handwriting. It's tilted the wrong way. Something's off about it. It's constantly fucking with you. Like, it's messing with your brain. It's not turning out right. Like, there were people who I've heard, like, artists online tell comic creators, avoid manga like the plague, like avoid anime style like the plague. And people will get offended by that. But without understanding why they're telling them that. Because anime style, for instance, or Disney style, or any really well-developed style, is a solution to a visual problem that you never did the work for. It's kind of like doing math, right? And copying somebody's solution and putting it in front of your teacher, and they're like, "Where's the work, though?" You know, because if you don't do the work, your thing is gonna be this surface level copying of something that somebody else has kind of developed, but the inner structure is going to be terribly wonky. Like it's not going to work, and things are going to be falling apart, and you're going to be spending years just kind of stuck in this routine of drawing. Like, like I have learned how to draw a character with those anime eyes. Like they have those big eyes, they have those big shines, because I've seen those and I've copied them so many times. And they're nice and sparkly. They have the tiniest of noses. They have those lips, those mouth. Then they have that animal hair, and everything is like. And then somebody asks you, okay, but can she be looking a little bit to the side, And you're like, because you never really understood what you're doing. You just jump to the solution. And that's the problem with style is style works best if you work your way to it. And I know it's gonna be hard. That is the hardest part, working your way to your own style. Speaking from personal experience, I went and fucking took a detour that took me about 15 years of abandoning my own style, trying to work like somebody else, only to one day fucking snap and go back to my own way of doing things and just explode all of a sudden, because it's been there all along. It's just been repressing it because I was trying to work like somebody else. So my advice: you wanna actually get good at it. Go to basics. Work from work from your Loomis methods. Work from your anatomy books. Learn the foundation, and then try and simplify it. Try and simplify it in your own interesting way. Experiment. Always experiment. Always try to find a new way how to summarize a form. Because you got to understand that in comics we do tend to kind of be drawing glorified stick figures. By that I mean, like, there's a very simple method to it all when it's done with experience. So at that point it's kind of a no-brain process. But to get to that no-brain process, you got to brain a lot. When will this be on Comixology? When it's done. Can't be now. Yep, seems to be back. Maybe. All right. Yeah. There we go. There we go. I think maybe we're coming back. All right. Well, maybe. I hope we're back. I can't wait to get that fiber optic internet. It's gonna make all the difference, and then my streams won't be crashing like this constantly. However, at least I got to kind of make my point from beginning to end. So thank God for small victories. What? Yeah, I know. I said I can't wait to get it because we're actually getting it. So that's a massive W. Sorry, Ambi. I don't know if I missed something from the chat from before because the whole thing disconnected. So, oh, right. Sorry. Yeah, I see. I see. Well, I've been working a bit following since first started BDSM stuff. But what has made you decide to change from fantasy 24/7? Well, I mean, it wasn't really ever a fantasy story about 24/7 with them. It was just kind of like it was like, even in the earliest days, was the concept was, they kind of meet for those specific purposes, but beyond that, it's just life. I the early stuff in Sunstone was me just kind of exploring like their BDSM relationship, because I had no idea what the story would be. Like, the moment I finished the volume one, the first chapter of Sunstone, I had a panic attack because I realized I was writing a romance story and had no idea what to do. So trust me, I have no idea how it all kind of started. Like just at some point, I was just like, yeah, okay, I guess I'm doing this. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, the first rule of this thing is like you can't ever give a shit about how badly it's gonna be judged by people who dislike it. There's always gonna be somebody who dislikes it. Uh, I basically have a very simple rule of thumb when it comes to pretty much anything I make. There's a reason why I don't really take any bad review personally at all, because it comes down to me not liking Watchmen. It's my own personal little trick that kept me sane through the years of working in comics. And that trick is you find yourself something that's like universally loved in you know in the line of work that you're doing, but you hate it. Like it just doesn't click for you at all. Like you just not does nothing for you. If you can find something like that, you know, then you're gonna have yourself a constant reminder that tastes are personal, and there's always gonna be people who are gonna dislike your stuff. But then comes that realization that you're not really doing your work for them. You're making it for those people who do appreciate your stuff, you know. And that's but yeah, but I mean, Linda, I'm being realistic here. Not I was doing stuff for myself as well. But you know what? Yeah, as an artist, you want to show your stuff and you want it to be liked. But the thing is, it's not always going to be. So yeah. Oh yeah, no. I mean on a simple uh who who is your audience kind of a thing. I'm not saying pander to your audience. I'm not saying do nothing but fan service and shit like that. No, my point is you gotta understand that uh, you are making a specific kind of story for a specific kind of audience, and you go with that because you will never make a story that suits everybody ever. That such story has not been made. Hmm, hmm, hmm. No, I know. I know you were talking about before Sunstone was a thing. That's what I'm saying. Is like they weren't even then. The plan wasn't that they're like 24/7. Like in fact, I was never a fan of the concept because I found it profoundly unrealistic and just stressful for a dom. So my concept was like from the get-go, it's like I was just showing you the times when they were doing it together, but like I wasn't showing you the in between times. And Sunstone is hey, it's them together and the in between times in the end, Like Sunstone was basically okay, but what if I actually showed everything? And then I was like, all right, let's do that. Hmm. Yeah. It has to do with the topic. I was just talking about my audience, and so welcome to my audience. Yeah, Linda needs her. Here's the thing: like once we actually get the internet situation here figured out, because should be in about a month that we're gonna get fiber optic internet, which means our upload is gonna be higher than 1 megabyte, which is it's them's the card we got. So we're playing with that. Hey, Rafael, doing great. No, here's the thing. I don't really ever take anything personally from publishers. Publishers were always nice with me. Like, it's just you gotta understand when you work for hire, when you're actually working on somebody else's property, you do what they want. If you have the ability and if you have the option to work for yourself and do your own thing, brilliant. You're in heaven. But when you don't, you gotta pay the bills. Like I was told no a lot of times from every publisher. It's like, hey, I want to do this in this book. No, all right, it's your party. You're paying for it. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta be objective. You gotta be mature about this shit. It's like you can't. At the end of the day, if you're doing comics, and if you're doing it professionally, that's your job. So you gotta take the bad with the good. Sometimes you're gonna be in that perfect position where everything you do is gonna get approved. Sometimes it won't. So you kind of swallow your pride and just move on. You keep working. Now, I'm right now in a wonderful position where, because of my Patreon, I can finally completely sever myself from the comic industry. I can just work on my own stuff. Once it's done, publish it through Top Cow, and brilliant. Hmm. No, because I wasn't sharing anything of myself with Sunstone. Sunstone is not an autobiographical story. In fact, if I wrote a story about Linda and me, you wouldn't fucking believe it. I've said this before, and I say it every time, because we are that kind of just weird and broken. We are derp. Like, just some sort, like, basically, people would often ask me, like, so are you actually, I'm sorry to ask, but are you actually interested? Oh, yeah, we're fucking perverts. But that's the least interesting part about us. No, I mean, the concept for those scenes were basically kind of like weekend sessions. You know what I mean? It's like okay, we all have days off now. We do stupid things. That was how I initially conceptualized those kind of like big moments. That kind of was the stuff with Anna and Lisa and Ali in the early versions where I still didn't even have wasn't even clear about what Ali's name would be. Like I remember in one of the early versions. I wrote her name down as Melissa. Then I realized, oh, wait, I already have Melissa. Yeah, our upload is 1 megabyte per second on a good day. Hmm. All right, let's get some work done now. Now the good thing is like this streaming actually woke me up because like I couldn't wake up for the life of me today. Who the fuck is Melissa? Exactly. Melissa was in one of the earliest strips that would later become Sunstone. That was one of the earliest versions of Ali's name because I haven't settled on a name at first, so it wasn't just Allison. Like it was at some point like in one of the strips there, it was actually written Melissa instead of Allison. Hmm. Yeah, Allison is much better because then I get to call her Ali. Yeah, kink is oh my god, like because the thing with especially with BDSM and stuff like that, like just these latex fetishists and BDSM fetishists, like there is so much just absolute just like cringe level role playing, and yet you adore it. It's fun. It's like the most hilarious thing is like when people who are not completely in their like dom space in their mental zone when they're trying to say dummy shit and it just kind of falls flat on its face and it's just the most precious thing. You're just like, oh, look at him. Linda is somewhere waiting in the room. Oh, you're there, huh? Oh, she's casting stuff into the fire. The Ring of Mordor. Hmm. All right. What? Of course. Oh yeah, the lowbrow humor. I fucking love that thing. Like it's one of those rare moments when I draw something so stupid that I end up laughing every time I see it. It's just like just perfect. Hmm. need. Basic size comparison. Let me copy. I haven't heard about her, but we all get criticized for pretty much anything we draw. I mean, there's no going around it. Best solution to that is just mute, block, and carry on with your fucking day. Like you really don't have the time to deal with that shit. It's like, oh hey, I have an opinion on what that you shouldn't be drawing something. Go fuck yourself. That's literally the only fucking attitude you can approach that with. Thank you. See ya, Phantom. I really can't unsee the Techno Viking. No. Like, that wasn't the intention, but here we are. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be skin tight, but it's not. You know, this isn't latex. This isn't vacuum sealed. It's just tailored so that it's kind of skin tight because, again, they are in a kind of a narrow mecha cockpit. Like the last thing they need is loose fabric everywhere. Mm. Mm. Do I have any recommendations for how to find critique partners for comics? No idea. I got lucky. I married mine. Mm. Mm. Yeah, that would probably be the easiest and best way to go about it. Just start hanging around in circles of people who do the same stuff, and then find yourself some friends with whom you can develop an actual conversation and take it from there. Mm. 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 How can I make art so fast? Because I've spent about uh, at this point 28 years at least drawing 6 to 10 hours a day, depending on the day, really. So it's a lot of it's muscle memory. The fact that I've memorized a lot of stuff to this point where I don't have to use references often, which means I don't have to go looking for references. Which, believe me, that fucking takes a lot of time. So it just comes down to kind of stubbornness and practice over time. And mind you, there are far better artists than me out there. It's just my my quality levels are what nothing more than I need them to be to tell a story, because at some point when you do this kind of stuff, like, you have to make a decision on what is your intention. Are you going to be an illustrator, or are you going to be a storyteller? If you're an illustrator, well, then you're going to be devoting a lot of time to your work and develop a very perfectionistic attitude, because that's kind of your point. Like, you got one painting, to impress. When you're a storyteller, well, then you really don't have the time to spend endless hours on every panel, because then you're gonna spend your life and make one comic, and That's not really a storyteller, That's at that point just kind of, you know, a painter with a stubbornness problem. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of have to make some decisions when it comes to how much time and effort you want to put into every one of your pages, every one of your panels. And it really does. When you're a comic creator, it does kind of become panels per hour, pages per day kind of a thing. So with me, uh, I always kind of tend to take my work until it's at a good enough level, and then I stop. Like you'll never see me actually put actual full effort into a thing because really that's not the point. The point is to tell a story. So I actually just uh, stop at that point where I can kind of trick my eye into believing that it looks finished. Mm, mm. See ya, big yellow. Not really. I mean, these kind of like semi-realistic covers are actually quite easy for me right now because I've spent about 15 years kind of working through this whole, um, thought process in making these. So I can just kind of like my brain kind of works like a 3D rendering software in this, where I can just kind of make a base model, kind of draw it in, and then I start setting up the lights, setting up the materials and stuff like that, and just refining, adding ambient occlusion, or as I often refer to it on this other artist stream when I come to chat there, I was like, it's jingling the keys, it's just stuff to distract the audience so that they think that the thing actually looks good when it's just absolute hack job. Hmm, 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 hmm. Yeah, I've speaking from experience. I've had that problem as well. It took me a long time to decide what I really am. Because when I started with all of this stuff, like I had a lot of weird dreams. Not weird. I mean, I had a lot of dreams, really, differing dreams. Uh, my initial dreams were about me becoming, like a special effects monster creator for movies. Something like Stan Winston Studio, stuff like that. So I used to sculpt and design a lot of monsters back in the day, which it paid off for me because it turns out when you're making comics, quite often you end up drawing some monsters. So you know, but for the longest time, like I said, it was I had no clear path in my creative life, so it was just figuring stuff out, trying a whole lot of everything until I kind of fell in love with comics, and even then, it was a lot of meandering, looking for a style, looking for an approach, looking for a line where I can call it done, you know. And that's one of the big skills that any comic creator has to develop is, you know, the ability to recognize when a thing is done. Not perfect, not flawless, just finished. Hmm. No, I don't like Evangelion. I have I watched the original series back about 20 something, about 20ish years ago, and never has something pissed me off so much by its end. And then after that, I could never pick up on any of the movies later on or whatever they were. Like I don't even know what those things are because they all have weird names and I don't even know where they fit. So I never gave them a chance. So recently I was like, you know what? I'm making a giant robots comic. I should probably go over this stuff. Just kind of like just because it like I should probably sit down and watch it all. Then I sat down, and 3 episodes into Evangelion, I just noped the fuck out. Just can't. I don't know why. Oh no, I didn't finish the Power Rangers lineup. It was just like with those fan arts, it just comes down to I'm in the mood for a thing for 5 minutes, and then after that, I'm like, oh, look at the kitty. Hmm. Hmm. What's my favorite film? I don't really have a favorite film. Like, I'm kind of eclectic. I like a lot of films. Yeah, the opening is amazing. Although I was always partial to Van Dred's opening. wait for April and May when I actually finish and deliver the prologue of this. I really want people to get who these characters actually are. It's gonna be really fun because the concept is very fun behind them. How do I get the glowy shining effect? I don't know. Like, is there any on the character right now? I don't really know which one you mean. What? Uh, I don't know, soft light overlay, depending on what I need. That's that's the thing is like each one of them kind of does its own thing, so it depends on the effect that I'm trying to achieve. Oh yeah, that would be probably a layer style set to hard or linear light and then a soft brush. Because I can do a lot of these things where it's like it's very easy to kind of set like a global illumination where I can make a layer for instance right here I can do a sort of an overlay where I can kind of knock out the colors if I want to, but the overlay in this case is way too strong, so I can do something like soft light. And then do some color corrections like that, and then I can keep working. That could be the reason, Mr. Grill. Yeah, with all of these things that I'm doing, like these are, techniques that are built on a foundation of actual, learning for a lot of time, for years and years, and so tricks alone won't really do much. Like it's kind of putting polish on, a lumpy piece of clay. It's still gonna be lumpy, It's still gonna be nothing specific. So you kind of always like this is why I always say, um, with any of my techniques, it's like these are just you know, gimmicks. These are tricks. These are little tips and techniques, but techniques can never substitute knowledge. Mm, mm. Plus, there's also always the problem of learning from somebody who themselves is very flawed in their own knowledge, and never make no mistakes. Like my stuff, like although I'm pretty good at covering up my own flaws every now and then, but I'm still learning myself. So Mm, mm, mm. I have overly knocked out the skin tone to the point where it's now wax. Mm, How many of these left? Well, I mean, I still have to finish the initial ones, but there's gonna be at least 6 of these for the main cast, and then I might do a few more for some of the other big characters. Hmm. Hmm. Wait, what am I doing? I could actually just very easily go and adjustments levels. Nah, no. Range adjustments. Hmm. I will drop the levels of everything. Okay. Now. Saturation. Saturate it a little bit because levels knock that out. Now I get to build up from that. Any tips on panel layout and achieving good page flow? Practice. Unfortunately, like there's a lot of tips and tricks online, but can't say I've ever really followed any of them. Like that's really the problem with asking me because I am self-taught, and then any advice I can give you on that can just kind of come off completely wrong when it comes to this. Like I said, there's that whole thing where I think Wally Wood's panels that always work. That there's better people at that than I am, and with me it's just kind of I just fiddle around until the thing works. Like I'm very kind of free form with that. Hmm. Like I said, one of the big problems with an advice is a dangerous thing. It can lead you astray if a person giving it doesn't really know how to either phrase it well or is kind of set in their own ways of doing this. And problem with me is I am kind of set in my own ways, and my own ways are weird. Like you've seen me paint. It's like who the fuck starts off with some blobs? This is why I generally, when I'm giving out tips, I generally stick to hey, you can do this in Photoshop. Oh, it's adorable that you think I use a keyboard. When I save it just the old-fashioned way. I click in the program. What? Yeah, I totally didn't think about it for like 2 minutes before realizing what it meant. Hmm. All right, fine, I'll do it. Ugh. No, not that, not that. I'm fucking flipping the image. That is, that is, that is the worst thing ever. Hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 It just destroys your confidence forever. Hmm. 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 Yep. It really is very often just it really does come down to that. Hmm. Best way to learn is just by doing. Hmm. 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 That's one of those things. Like this is why it's very hard for me to teach anybody this stuff because like how do I explain that? Like I have a perfect image of this in my head, and I'm negotiating the exact moment in time that the picture is taken, that exact glimpse of confidence, that exact glimpse of movement, that little bit of attitude. And it's like fucking I'm operating like a movie director, constantly retaking the same shot until I feel like it's captured the exact vision that I have for it. It's like I pity the actors in my head. Mm. Yeah. Also, one of the things that I often say is all of my success is built on a massive foundations of failures. Everything I know now is learned one mistake at a time. So never be worried about making mistakes. That's literally the process. It's like, hey, I fucked up. Yes, you're supposed to. Like, how many times have you seen me fiddle with her face right here now? Why? Because I didn't nail it perfectly from the get-go, you know? And that's okay. I'll get it. I'll find it. I'll do it. I'll nail it just the way I want it to be. Hmm. And until I do, I'm just gonna fiddle around. I'm gonna make more mistakes. Hmm. No, no, we make mistakes. It's fine. It's fine to make mistakes. Uh, it's a healthy attitude to understand that you're going to be making mistakes. But you also got to understand that mistakes are the part of the process. They are the learning part. Mistakes are just fine as long as you recognize them and learn from them. They're amazing, in fact, because that's, like I said, that's how you get good, one mistake at a time. But as long as the mistake remains noticed, as long as you're still open to recognizing them. And then, one day you're gonna realize that some mistakes have become a part of your style, a part of your artistic handwriting, and those mistakes are gonna become a part of your signature. Those mistakes you embrace. Uh, no, not really, not anymore. I used to have them back in the days, like in my early days when I was just, when the whole thing felt like it wasn't really, going anywhere or progressing, so it kind of gets to you. But nowadays, I have made my decisions in life and I live by them. And one of my big decisions in life is that I'm a storyteller, and as such, I just basically get up every morning and, you know, think about what to draw, how to draw it, what stories to tell. I sit down, I write some, I draw some, just living my best life, really. But that didn't come all of a sudden. Like, it was something that I worked for years and years. There was a time when I actually considered abandoning it all, just not working comics anymore, just yeah, giving up, going into video games or something. So we all have our low points, you know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with working in video games, and to the contrary, it's just not me, you know what I mean? It's I am a storyteller, but I was going through a crisis back then, And oddly enough, that crisis was what saved my career, saved everything for me, That's what changed everything. Because in order to get out of that crisis, I started making Sunstone. And here we are now. Mm. 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 Depending on what I'm doing with the hair, like if it's something like, a simpler hair, it's just, I doodle it. But like when I'm doing some characters with like a rich kind of hair with like, a bit more curly or like just really impressive hair, like I will often do stuff with multiple layers and stroke, which enables me to do, let me just pull out an example of that. Hmm. Hmm. F, fine print. Where are you? Hmm. So like in something like fine print, I have characters with like really elaborate hairs, and so for that one, I will usually, like I said, I will do these multi-layer things with stroke effects, so that I can make these very like interesting looking curls, one layered on top of another very easily, and get these very kind of uh, just kind of a more you know, vivid looking hair. So that's also that's a very big deal for me also in my work, is like because hair because the character's hair can really accentuate the scene properly. Like like here, it's like where I have this scene with where Lauren is just standing, you know, on its own, nice. But it really is, her hair that also very much sells the look, so it kind of has to have that fluidity to it, and the effect is very easy to achieve, it's just you kind of have to commit, say, same as like for this panel, for these panels right here, like, I like, because fine print has these characters that have, these kind of flowy hairs. I will often employ this technique, so I'm looking for a really good example because there, that's also, safe for YouTube. Where was it? Let's see this one. No. Anyways, the method itself is actually quite simple. Let me just save it. So I'm just gonna demonstrate it right here, Just, so basically, the idea is to make a new layer, and just pick the color for the hair. And one of the things that I often do while doing this is like I will crunch a round brush like this, and then I will just proceed to draw, just so layer style. I forgot to set up the style stroke. So I will put, layer style stroke, depending on the size of the image, that's going to dictate the size of the stroke itself. And then the idea is basically I can duplicate this layer a few times so that I have multiple layers. And then the idea is basically, I can kind of do these just normal so that it doesn't darken things. I can do like, curls, right? And like, wild hair or something like that. It's very easy and it's already, kind of outlined. So it kind of has this drawn on look to it, so I can just do, this. And then I can add another, I can go to the layer above it and keep adding, so that it feels like there's like locks behind locks, so it looks very kind of detailed, intentional, while in truth it's very just, it's a very basic trick, it's a very basic effect, but it gets the job done in a very nice, fluid way. So if that's of any help, have fun with it. Fro is very easy, but it's very easy for me because I just make a brush that's very like rich and detailed, and then just like ta-da. Like that's the thing with me. Like I developed a lot of techniques that kind of depend on me, working fast. So it's they tend to be very simple and tend to be very effective. So it's fun for me. It's like one of the big things with Photoshop for me is like finding out new ways how to use it. That's the thing. Like, when you're self-taught, you kinda you you're unbound. You're just like you never worry about just pressing buttons and seeing what happens. Hmm. 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 Yeah, that could save me some time. Problem is, it doesn't fit the angles of the face. Plus, my big problem is like I couldn't do a lip bite as a brush because I don't outline lips. I don't know if you noticed that about my work. When I ink, I never ink the outer edges of lips. I just let the color fill that in. Thank you. Mm, mm, mm. Wow, once again I've reached that point where I've drawn a character and it reminds me of an actress and I can't remember the name. Neat. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, she kind of looks like the actress from that played Syl from Species, I think. Mm. It's kind of like when I draw Laura in realistic style, she always kind of ends up looking like a young Sigourney Weaver. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, you just keep laughing until one day you realize that all of you, are actually a brush made by me. That's when shit gets meta. Mm, mm, mm. Bless you. Mm, mm, Is Linda drawing? Linda's always drawing. When she's not, she's writing. And when she's not, she's losing her mind about writing. hmm Yeah. It's a cycle. And it is in that moment that this whole thing turned into a Nolan movie. Of course not, Jessica. You are not brushes. Linda, don't tell the brushes. Good. Wait, did I mute myself for that? The novel is Letters to the Vampire Queen, and it is a cool thriller, erotic romance thing with a vampire queen and this girl that basically falls in love with her, and a whole conspiracy in this kind of a city that's known to be completely clean of vampires, and it's known as the center of, you know, kind of trade of anti-vampire paraphernalia, because they are the holy city, and you know, because no vampires can enter it because it used to be ruled by the vampire queen, which they have overthrown and slain. And there's a lot of intrigue and dark fantasy and cool stuff and sexy stuff. These things are meant to be as some sort of covers. I still haven't decided on how I'm gonna handle those though, because you know, with graphic novels you don't really get to make variant covers. However, I'm thinking once I make the Achilles Shield Maidens, I might do sort of an honorary run of single issues where I'm just gonna chop it to like 6 issues or something, and just so that we can have like special little issues with these different covers, and then I will just do the standard graphic novel. Like, I don't usually do the standard issues anymore at all. Like, I don't bother with the whole comic store thing because they rarely bother with me. So, however, with this one, I don't know. I might just. We'll see. So this is gonna take quite a bit more work, but you know what? I'm pretty happy with it for what was just wake me up inside stream. You know? Oh yeah, Prince definitely. Like I'm gonna come on. I'm gonna market the shit out of this. It's gonna be. Am I a fan of Anne Rice? I've only ever seen the what's it called, Interview with the Vampire movie. Haven't read the Sleeping Beauty series. I think Linda tried it once. I don't know if she finished it. Oh, the Vampire Chronicles. Yeah, but yeah, that's frustrating. Yeah, Linda and I, we often like audiobooks, and the ones that she was listening to, they kept changing the reader, so it makes for a frustrating experience. Yeah, you gotta relax your ears. I mean, everything I do ends up in print, so it'll be there. But yeah, these are definitely going to be at least prints. But beyond that, I'm not sure. Like I said, I still have to figure out how I'm going to be distributing these. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to now go because I got to make backgrounds for the new Sunstone updates. And they ain't going to make themselves. And I got to finish that thing by tomorrow because I got to deliver it and finish up the Patreon month. Plus, next month, I got about 13 more pages of Sunstone to finish, and then sending that off to print. Next month, also on my Patreon, I'm going to be doing the new fine print update, and then after that, starting on April 1st, on April Fools, we're starting with Achilles Shield Maidens, and that's no joke. So, anyways, thank you for being here today. I'm gonna be going now. Also, I'm a YouTuber now. Hit that fucking like button or something. See ya, everybody.